Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, this is a very special video because I am here to give you the entire predictions for 2021, what you can expect month by month. And I wanted to do this in order to prepare everyone, because this is a monumental year for radical changes. So listen up. Mark your calendars and get ready. Before I start, I always want to tell everyone to please sign up for my free newsletter where you will get this entire dissertation, month by month, day by day, in an email delivered to your email address. So sign up on galacticcenter.org. And don't forget, for those of you that want to study Vedic astrology with me, I have a stellar online university. Check it out. It's amazing. And it is University of Vedic Astrology.com. If you want to learn how to make predictions like this, check it out. So one last thing, I always want to remind everyone, when you go to my website, check out my spiritual jewelry line of prayer malas that you wear as jewelry and spiritual jewelry. It's very special and you'll want to see it on my website. So go to galacticcenter.org. Now let's get down to business, because 2021 is a serious year for change. And starting out with the year, we're starting to have hope that we're overcoming this virus that has completely destroyed 2020. It's just how we are all saying to kiss 2020 goodbye because we're ready for a new year. But this new year has another whole host of events that have been evolving and transforming our lives. And we will never, ever be the same after 2021. Because the things that I'm seeing on the forefront are totally unexpected. So the coronavirus with the vaccine will get things pretty much under control to a certain degree, but hang on there. There is another round to come next fall. I'll give you dates for that. But starting out in January, there are so many planets that are coming together in the sign of Capricorn. And Capricorn's all about the government. And yes, we're due to have an inauguration day for the President of the United States, January 20th. I have never seen anything like that day before. Uranus is going to station direct. In other words, when a planet stations right before it shifts from retrograde to direct or direct to retrograde, but it literally stands still. And it makes that planet 10 times more powerful. Uranus is the planet of sudden, unexpected changes. It actually rules earthquakes and things we can't see coming. That's what's going to happen. We can't see what's about to strike this world. And Mars is exactly conjunct Uranus on Inauguration Day, 12 degrees of Aries, even in the most volatile sign of the zodiac. What's going to be happening, though, regardless of who's inaugurated in the United States, is there's two separate governments simultaneously going on. There are civil wars. There is contention. There is explosive, angry protest and violence. Not only in the United States, though, all over the world. It's happening, and it's going to happen quick. The month of January, you're going to see it all operating and things coming unglued. And if you think that Biden's going to be inaugurated and Trump's going to go away, I actually see, like it or not, Trump will get more powerful this year. Imagine that. But extremes are to be expected over what's to come. Everyone is divided. The country is split in half, 50-50. People are angry, they're biased, they're opinionated, they're righteous, they're judgmental. And even families are splitting up due to their political thoughts and reasons. This is crazy what's happening in this world right now. But you're going to see more is to come. So, as I've mentioned before, Pluto is in Capricorn, huge, hadn't been there since 244 years ago, since the beginning of the United States as a country. But being in Capricorn, it's a transformation of government, the way the government's run. Nothing will be the same with this hitting 0 Capricorn, the cardinal axes. Now, another thing that is really amazing that I feel like has been happening is the fact that the last solar eclipse we had, December 14th, 2020, eclipses are good for 6 months. So until the one that occurs in June of 2021, this one is in effect. The eclipse degree was 28-29 degrees of Scorpio, which is Gandanta. Gandanta means out of control. Emotions range out of control. And actually Gandanta means drowning, or it doesn't literally mean that, but it translates into that's the feel it gives. So people feel out of control. They feel like they're drowning. And not only that, then when you look at where Rahu and Ketu are, Rahu's the north node of the moon, Ketu's the south node of the moon, around 24-25 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio, Neptune sits at the midpoint at 24 degrees, 24-25 degrees of Aquarius. Neptune always brings out scandals, agendas, secrets. As a matter of fact, I wrote a book on it. Check it out on Amazon because I found it to be so truly powerful when it comes to scandals and secrets. So this year will be the year that secrets beyond our wildest beliefs will be exposed. And if you think it's just about politics, you're limiting your vision and your mind because it is bigger than you can imagine. That's going to be the healing that will take place in this world in 2021. So everyone's divided. Everyone's at war, civil wars. And wars between countries will happen this year. This will happen. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be all the hidden anger explodes with these injustices. There will be a need for peace. And yes, there will be some peaceful triumphs as well in this year, because it has to be to bring peace to the planet. So January through April, there is what's called a Kala Sarpa Yoga going on. Kala Sarpa Yoga is very significant in terms of making world predictions, because when all the planets are on one side of the nodal axes, Rahu and Ketu, and all the planets are on one side, this is the entrapment that people feel. We feel very trapped. And it's very karmic. It's a destiny that has to happen, you see, in order for the world to go through this catharsis to change. But during the Kalasarpa Yoga, everything seems entrapped. And this is a very dramatic time. I've never seen anything like this year, to be honest. And I said that about 2020, but this year is even more radical, if I could say that, and unpredictable shifts that are about to explode with violence and destruction. But eventually, guess what comes? Out of it has to come a healing. And that's what we're all hoping for, and it will happen. But a few things still need to be unraveled for the healing to occur. So do remember, let me tell you, I did a video on the inauguration chart. But looking even deeper to that chart, not just the conjunction of Uranus and Mars on that day, but also the moon's involved. The moon is the masses, the moon is the public. So the public is enraged and fiery and explosive. Now, remember, I am just giving you the astrological signatures. You can interpret it as who you think is being inaugurated in the vein of what these explosive events will create, or why is it so explosive? Is it because Biden's being inaugurated? Is it because Trump's being inaugurated? What would cause the greatest explosion of anger and protest and violence? That's what's going to happen. Now, I also notice, as a Vedic astrologer, I also look at the nakshatras, because Mars and Uranus will be in the nakshatra called Ashwini. Ashwini is ruled by Ketu, and in that inauguration chart, Ketu goes to the 8th house. The 8th house is endings and death. So something about this inauguration, I often said maybe somebody won't finish their term. Maybe it's just impeachment or something like that. I don't always take death as death. It can be endings, but it is involving the 8th house. Now, the 8th house is also scandals. Scandals are going to disrupt everything this year, I promise you that. And even when I pulled up the divisional chart called the Navamsha, a lot of you may know what I'm talking about, but those of you that don't, just realize what this Navamsha is telling us. Mars and Uranus end up in the 10th house in Cancer in the Navamsha, the D9 chart. The Navamsha is what everything evolves into. So Mars, Uranus in the 10th in Cancer. Mars is debilitated in Cancer. Something vile will happen concerning the government. And then even when I look at the dispositing planet of Mars and Uranus, being in Cancer, it is the moon. The moon goes to the 8th house with Neptune. Incredible, the scandals that will come about that will probably end the presidency of whoever's in office. That's probably what's going to happen. So we're going to see things that we never thought possible. So moving on, looking a little further on in February. I've just been talking, that's full of information in January, but what's happening in February, it's a turning point, and this is fantastic for the stock market. I know everybody's like really saying, how does the stock market have anything to do with what's really going on in the world? The joblessness, people losing their homes. Yes, it's all happening. But the stock market is going to go sky high, and I predict the time period it's going to really shoot up is going to be around February 25th through the 26th. Because during this time, we've got Rahu and Jupiter casting a mutual trine to each other from Taurus to Capricorn. And those are the signs of money. They're the signs of the economy. And whenever Jupiter and Rahu aspect each other, it's major expansion in the financial markets. But don't get too comfortable, because after the big stock market surge, it's going to go down. So I would say when it goes sky high, you might want to consider getting out and then buying once it hits its bottom again. Because stock market's not going to stay depressed forever. There's too many people in the world. There's too many billionaires. The minute it gets down to rock bottom prices, guess what? They buy it up again. And it will go up again, but not as quickly as it did in 2020. So everyone's always asking me when to get in, when to get out. If you really want to know, follow my magazine, astrologicmagazine.com. In that magazine, I give my predictions on what stocks to invest in the stock market. That's the exclusive information in my magazine. But continuing on, looking at where Mercury goes retrograde, which is going to be January 30th through February 21st, it will cause some setbacks in some of the stocks. Particularly, maybe it will have something to do with what? Traveling. That could be where a damper gets set on that. If it does, it's time to invest. But once Mercury turns direct, this will be around February 21st. Remember I said February 25th through the 26th would be when the stock market would be soaring. It will be going high. And people are going to get very excited, and they're going to think it's going to stay that way. Just like in the late 90s. Remember those time periods with the stock market. Didn't stay there. But it's all about that the vaccine is giving hope, and we are seeing the coronavirus start to go down, and people are getting their hopes back. They're getting their life back. And that's going to help with the economy and the stock market. But by February 21st through April 13th, be aware, because Mars will be transiting in the sign of Taurus with Rahu. Yes, this can magnify things even more with the stock market, with the economy. Things go sky high. But let me remind you something about this time. There are going to be so many extremes because Mars with Rahu is not good. Mars with Rahu can really represent a war. If you want to know where a war could happen, this could be around the time, especially when Mars exactly conjuncts Rahu. And Mars will conjunct Rahu. This date will be March 26th. Mars will exactly conjunct Rahu around 18 degrees of Taurus. Now let me tell you what I foresee with that. As I said, with President Trump, he's going to be more powerful at this time. Why? Because Mars Rahu will conjunct his sun in the 10th house while Jupiter casts a trine to it. That means something's coming up. If he's not the president, he will have more power than the president. And yes, he is a little bit in danger with that Mars Rahu on his sun in the 10th house. And if he is in a position of power, whether he opens up his whole new media platform that he's saying he's going to start, then people aren't going to like it. He needs to be careful. But another thing this could represent is a war breaking out in the United States. Whether it's a civil war or it is a war with other countries, I think it's both. Yeah, I mean, people called me a fearmonger right before I predicted what was going to happen in 2020. So here's the thing. No, our planet's not going to be blown up, but we have to prepare ourselves mentally and spiritually and physically. And I don't mean that you need to lock all your doors and buy guns. No, although many would say that. But I believe your spiritual practice is what you have to take on, because that's the way we're going to counteract the ills of this world that are approaching. So another thing that's very important about this time, when I see Mars going into Taurus, there is a time that the corruption and scandals are going to come out that are going to create so much deceit and lies. People are going to be very disenfranchised with our governments around the world, realizing, who can you trust? It's going to be a rude awakening that needs to happen. So there are some other things that are coming up, such as when there is a new moon in March. I want you to know that new moon conjuncts Neptune. And you know Neptune's all about bringing up that which we couldn't see, the scandals. So next, realize there is going to be a powerful underground movement of people with the media that are demanding free speech and to get rid of fake news and the propaganda that we've been being fed throughout eons. I'm not just talking about the recent past, I'm talking about so many years. And we thought we had freedom of speech here. Think again. Things are going to change for sure. Now, around January through March, this is where we're going to have the new discoveries. Remember this, that Uranus is the planet of discoveries. And Uranus coming together with Mars. Mars deals with fundamental creation of like motors and electronics. It's going to explode how we're going to be able to travel. So this is a whole new realm of science that's coming into being, and how we're going to operate, and of course the healing of major diseases we never thought possible. So this is a blessing in disguise. So this movement that I'm talking about, this could be the movement where Trump is in power. Empowered. Maybe he's not president, but it almost appears like he is. So I'm not saying to follow either or, I'm saying to balance yourself. But get ready, because you can't be sidetracked or over the top opinionated one way or another. You're not operating from the light. You're not helping. And we are here to help other people. So don't get fanatical about either side of this political split. Stay in the middle. Okay, so another thing is by April 5th, this is the time that Jupiter will enter Aquarius. And when it does, it will stay there in Aquarius till around September through November. It's going to, for 2 months, go back into Capricorn, which we will have a rehashing of things coming back. But while it is in Aquarius, Aquarius is about humanity, healing of humanity. But once Jupiter goes into Aquarius, it's leaving Saturn behind, all on its own, to aspect planets. So that's the time I say the stock market will go down. Definitely by around the first week of April. Be aware, Saturn will stand alone, and it in the United States chart will be in the second house, causing the economy, stock market, everything to plummet. So, but it will also be the downfall of the virus too. So the economy and even the stock market is going to take a plummet, and Mars has great strength during this time because during this time, Jupiter will be in the nakshatra Dhanishta while it's in Aquarius. Dhanishta actually is a nakshatra about the richest one, but Dhanishta is about power and powerful people. And Dhanishta is ruled by Mars, but Mars is in the nakshatra of Mrigashira, ruled by Mars. So Mars, the planet of anger, hostility, is extraordinarily strong and will fight back. Remember, while Jupiter's in Aquarius, it's moving towards Neptune, which this is the freeing. By the time Jupiter conjoins Neptune, this is where we will know about things beyond this world that we never, ever had the power to know about before. So I'm looking at April 11th because this is where Mars will transit in opposition exactly to the previous eclipse degree, which was on December 14th, 29 degrees of Scorpio. And whenever Mars crosses over this eclipse degree, and it did actually oppose the previous eclipse degree, September 11th of 2001. So many times Mars is a trigger of war. It is. So what you're going to find that when it hits this eclipse degree around April 11th, this could be an attack. So be aware. And the undercurrents of extreme anger will finally cause some major event. Whether it's an attack or just extreme fighting, there will not be peace at this time. So Scorpio, realize this. Having the eclipses in Scorpio brings out the deepest, darkest events. Scorpio is about what's beyond this world even. And that's what we can start to get in touch with, believe it or not. Whether it's aliens or life beyond this world. So actually, Mars begins the eclipse season. May begins the eclipse season. And there will be a lunar eclipse on May 26th. And on the 29th of May, Mercury turns retrograde again. And it will be Mars will be in Gemini, which is in the nakshatra Ardra. This is volatility. There is so much coming out. The economy, the stock market, the eclipse season, earthquakes start up again, tsunamis, severe weather. You see, there's no harmony within the hearts and souls of the people. And remember what I always say. What's within all of us creates the mass consciousness, and there's so much social unrest. But I do know that towards the end of May, there's going to be a big change where I promise you, truth and happiness will prevail. Because that's going to be where Jupiter starts to station. The degree of the moon in the United States chart, in the third house of communications. What does that mean? The truth is going to set us free. And so be aware, but there's one problem I do see. Around the end of May through the middle of July, and that is for Joe Biden's chart, because what's starting to occur now is Joe Biden has his sun in Scorpio. So as K2 gets closer to the sun, his physical body, constitution, his power will weaken. And the sun Actually, it is the physical body, but it's also the heart. So he has to watch his heart health between the months of May through mid-July. But particularly, this is the time that he has to watch his diet, his health. So there is a lunar eclipse that's happening. And this is a powerful lunar eclipse. As I said, this lunar eclipse begins the eclipse season, and it will occur on May 26th. But then the solar eclipse comes about in June, 2 weeks later. And this solar eclipse is on June 10th at 25 degrees of Taurus. That's powerful. And it actually affects the country, and particularly, again, this back and forth between these leaders, particularly Donald Trump's 10th house. This is where this is all happening in his 10th and 4th house axes, and this eclipse occurs in his 10th. So this could represent, again, Mars is going to be in Cancer, and it's going to be aspecting both Jupiter and Saturn. So this is separation. This is endings. And if you thought things were going to start getting better after all the violence and turbulence, it just seems to take another direction. People have got to get it together. They cannot be in this rage that I'm seeing. So there's going to be endings and separations, and I do get sadness around this time of year. Okay, then I'm looking at where transiting Jupiter. Remember that I'm saying that the day that it does station at 7 degrees of Aquarius. And by the way, if you have any planets at 7 degrees of Aquarius, planets there, or 7 degrees of Gemini or Libra, you're in luck. Some good things are going to happen for you personally. Just because the world is in turmoil doesn't mean your life is. Truly, I mean that. So moving on, Jupiter station, this will take place in June. Hidden secrets in the government will come out. If we thought we knew it all, there's more to be uncovered. And that's the time, I really think that there's going to be some discovery of alien life. It will come at that time. So the media will be forced at this time to start to operate from different laws. There's going to be a breakup of all the media giants, and things are going to change dramatically dealing with the media. Why? Because Jupiter is stationing on the natal moon in the USA chart, in the 3rd house of communications. So that's a big deal. Now, July, things are going to start getting heated up. It's going to be a long, hot summer. Lots of fires, to add insult to injury. When people get angry, guess what happens? The world has fires galore. And Mars will oppose Neptune by September 2nd. This will cause fuel prices to spark up. Gasoline prices, which has an effect on the economy because that affects shipping of all the other products. Plus, I see such a hot summer, there's going to be problems with crops and farming. Prices in every way go up on commodities, the things that we use the most. And then, not to add insult to injury, we're going to have a flu season when Mars goes into Virgo, and it may not be the flu. It could be another onset of the coronavirus, another strain. But let me just say this, strengthen your immune system. It's coming because Mars will be in Virgo. Let's see here. And it always deals with with health and health problems. It will be in Virgo September 5th through October 21st. So everything to do with disease and And problems with crops are going to be treacherous. But what comes out of this? Always discoveries. Always discoveries are realized about health and healing. But I will say this, we're going to start having such amazing discoveries in health and healing and a whole new way to work with healing. And it will evolve to even a bigger, better place and realize by the year of 2022 that we will have mega healings and life extension with these discoveries. So that's a great hope and positive that I believe is coming. But you know, Rahu is in Taurus and Ketu is in Scorpio. They are exalted in the signs, and this does bring an ultra healing. And I say by the time we have Rahu and Ketu shift signs out of Taurus Scorpio, it will be around March 15th of 2022. This virus will be eradicated for sure. But we've got another surge before we get it. Why? Because people aren't getting it. Their anger and their fears are multiplying this virus more than ever. So September 14th through November 20th, Jupiter retrogrades back into Capricorn for this short amount of time, for 2 months. And this means we have to go back. We have to reevaluate things, fix things, especially in the area of government affairs around the world. There will be a reversal, but let's go back and heal what we left undone. That's what's going to be happening at this time. But October will bring more unrest. Go figure that, as Mars aspects Uranus. And this time it went from a conjunction in January of 2021 to an opposition by the time of October. Well, it's not quite there yet. It's actually, Mars is going to be in a quincunx to Uranus. And quincunxes are definitely a 6-8 or an 8-6 relationship. So, but there's going to be a new moon in November that exactly opposes Uranus. That's where we get another advent of things being unexpected events and turns of events. So let me wrap it up and give you what I see happening at the end of 2021. There's internal and external wars going on still. November 12th, Mars will finally oppose Uranus. So as I said, October, it's a 6-8 relationship, but by November, it's going to be opposed. It's going to be where Mars is going to be in Libra and Uranus is still in Aries. And this will be another unexpected host of events that are going to be happening. Plus the new moon is opposing Uranus, and that's November 17th. So moving on, by November 19th, we have another lunar eclipse. And the day following this eclipse, which happens, actually, the solar eclipse will happen in Scorpio, November 19th. But then we have the solar eclipse 2 weeks later, December 4th. And on December 5th, Mars will go into Scorpio. And when it does, it's going to be opposed the Mars in the United States chart. So there's going to be some strategic war plans that are happening in accordance to everything that's been evolving throughout the year. And then the final day of the year of 2021, New Year's Eve, December 31st, is going to be where Mars will conjunct the previous eclipse degree, which had happened December 4th. And when this happens, Mars is going to eclipse this degree, and it will be at 15 to 16 degrees of Scorpio. This is conjunct the fixed star Antares, which is the star of war. When are we ever going to get it together as humanity? We can't be destroying ourselves. But unfortunately, this is what I'm seeing throughout this year. We are destroying ourselves. So let me give a little recap of the whole year, just so you can prepare. So we'll start out the year profoundly difficult as we surrounding the U.S. presidential elections. We have some karmic lessons that we have not learned, and this will divide the country completely. Explosive events, underground governments, no freedom of speech, but everything will be in turmoil and excitement. The stock market around February, March is going to go sky high. Take advantage of the good things that we can. But March, towards the end of March, when we have Mars come together with Rahu, it's going to be an event that's going to change everything. It's going to be dramatic. It's going to be warlike, and it could involve a president. So then I'm looking at, as we move on, what will happen? The truth will be revealed throughout this year. And of course, it's going to make people sad. There's going to be more violence. But the lessons that come out of this year is that the truth will set us free. It always does. And that's what needs to happen. None of us are being fed the truth. And so there will be such an healing after all of this disruption and destruction. So it is a time to focus on what we can change, which is ourself and our family. And realize that the only thing you do have control over is yourself. So working on your emotional body, healing it, bringing together, change your thoughts from the negative to the positive. Have hope. Dream and see the world as a beautiful place, because it's all evolving. And all of this explosion of events has to happen in order for the truth to set us free and to heal our world. Because what we're doing is we're setting up the world to a much better place for future generations. We're doing it. And this will be a year we will never, ever forget. And it is a time when spirituality, yes, when things get tough, opportunities for growth are the best. And to take advantage of some of the things that are going to take off in this world that can make you more productive and successful in the future years to come. Because when one thing dies, another is reborn. And that's what you have to be attuned to. So always see the beauty in the world. There is so much beauty in this world. Don't focus on all the negativity. And I'm warning you of all of this so you can prepare and not get all caught up in it, because it's easy to do when you put on the news, when you talk to other people. Stay grounded and you're going to change your life for the better. So just to remember, as astrologers, we must be the teachers and practice what we preach, which is the spiritual truth, to guide other people to enlightenment, to see the beauty and the love in the world. Because remember this, the only thing that heals is the power of love. So what are we here to do? Recognize our opportunity for spiritual growth. Love is everything. And always come from a place of appreciation and gratitude for what you have. It multiplies it into much more when you have that true sense of gratefulness and gratitude. And always remember compassion and understanding. This is what we are here to teach at this period in the world consciousness. And love heals all. So with that, I think I've said enough. I think you've got a sense of what 2021 is going to do, how you're going to get through that. So remember, go to my website, sign up for my free newsletter. You will get this entire transcript month by month of 2021 delivered to your email address, which is galacticcenter.org. Furthermore, if you want to learn Vedic astrology and be able to help guide people, which is probably one of the best things we can do during this period, to give people hope, to help people see beyond the tunnel to where the light will emanate and come forth for us. I think that's when Jupiter comes and aligns with Neptune, 2022. So much better, but let's get through this year. You got to be strong. You got to be rooted in your spiritual purpose. And if you want to learn Vedic astrology, this is where my focus is going to be, teaching my students. Go to my website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. And remember, the new start date for semester 1 is January 27th. Thank you.